next time you see our buddy Julio Villette, ask him why ladles are so terrible.
I don't even want to know. Welcome to another episode of Black and White Swim Talk. I know it's been a while, so in case you forgot, I'm JMax. This is Elvis.
JMax, what took us so long?
I'll tell you what took us so long. You have been dodging my calls.
Don't even. No. I've been calling you for 2 months straight. No answer. No reply text messages. No WhatsApp. No. Try again.
All right. Elvis is right. It's completely my fault. I've been wrapped up with some other stuff. I haven't been pulling my weight. But let's be real. On this episode, we've got freaking Michael Andrew sitting on a teeter-totter seesaw talking about Olympic trials. People are gonna watch it.
Yeah, clickbait.
No joke.
But since we've been gone so long, I mean, so much has happened, we got to catch up. So let's just run through this, a little speed round.
All right. I'll start us off. Elvis, women's NCAA is a couple weeks ago. Like you and I have talked about, there were a couple of big names, like notably missing due to the Olympics coming up this summer, but still some really, really impressive swims, some super impressive, exciting races. What caught your eye most from that weekend?
Well, first of all, we got to give a special congratulations and special shout out to our girl Danielle Gallier at the University of Kentucky, making us alumni proud. So, first individual NCAA championship ever, so congrats to her for that. Proud of you, keep it up. Second, friend of the show, Kelsey Worrell, doing what Kelsey Worrell does best, just tearing it up, getting these records, and, we're not going to talk about it too much because she goes to the University of Louisville. Moving on, got the freshman, Lily King. Now, everybody knows I don't recognize breaststroke as a real stroke, but I still got to give a special salute to Lily King. I mean, 56, 100 breasts, 203, 200 breasts. She beat the field by 3 seconds. And another freshman was second to her from IU. So a 1-2 punch.
Yeah, dude. Like you said, she went 56 in the 100 breaststroke. How much faster is that than your fastest 100 breaststroke? Like 5 seconds? Like 10 seconds? Have you ever actually finished a 100-yard breaststroke with both hands on the wall? Remember fins on one time in practice?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, super impressive. Great meet. All sorts of crazy fast swims from those ladies. Yeah. So I'll throw it back to you. Similar question. What impressed you most from men's NCAA since that just wrapped up last weekend? Yeah. Just boatloads of ridiculously fast swims at that meet. I mean, it's tough to say what impressed you most, but I think you got to start with like the three Bowles boys, right? Like Ryan Murphy, Joe Schooling, and Caleb Dressel. Still, it's been 3 years, and the fact that those three guys were in high school, like at the same high school together, even though it was Bowles, is just so ridiculously unfair. And it's tough to not say that 44.0 100 fly is not the most impressive thing you saw. That 18.2 is not the most impressive thing you saw. But honestly, I've always, for some reason, been a little bit more impressed by Murphy's backstroke numbers. And I was thinking about it today, and I think it's legit just because I was such a terrible backstroker that they seem even that much more unattainable. There's no way people can swim backstroke that fast. So start to finish, I'm gonna say Ryan Murphy, but single swim, outstanding performance, honestly, I would have to go with the freshman from Texas, Townley Haas, in that 200 freestyle. Just one-off swim. That would probably be the way that I would have to pick it.
I did not expect that. That's a curveball for me. So I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that one. Why?
I mean, if we're talking most impressive, I thought that Simon Burnett's 2 free record was the most impressive record on the books, and he went out and broke it. I mean, that record stood for so long. It lasted through the super suits, and then just like Eddie Reese gets his hand on a freshman and gone.
Yeah, I think his record was from 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, personally, I would have gone with, either Caleb Dressel or Joe Schooling because, I mean, I know I'm biased because I swam sprint free and fly in college. So, but I mean, 18.2, that time reminds me if we had like a swimming video game and you got to create your own character, you just like boosted the speed and the power all the way up. Caleb Dressel is probably what would come out the other end.
That's pretty accurate. Actually, like, let me go off on that real fast. If I were Greg Troy, and obviously I'm not, and like there's a reason why he's him and I'm me, and he would never do this. Even though I think the last episode we put out, we called him a fairy tale troll and a just for men. That's not important. If I were Greg Troy, I would be scrolling back through the Swim Swam article comments from like 2 years ago when Dressel signed to go down there, because there was a lot of chatter about what a big mistake that was. And if I were Troy, and if he was a jerk of a person as I am, I'd be scrolling through that little list and be like, Hi, is this Bobo Gigi? Hi, man. Bobo. This is Greg Troy down at University of Florida. May I call you Bobo? Yeah, I got a comment here from December, 2013. Too much yardage in the program. Never gonna hit that top end speed. How you like me now, Bobo? That'd just be how I would handle it, though. No offense to Bobo Gigi, I'm sure lovely.
We'll hear about it. We'll hear about it in the comments.
We'll see. All right, last one. Elvis. There has been a ton of doping news in the swimming universe since our last episode. You had, obviously, like most notably and most newsworthy, Evamova. There was another Russian. Just this morning, our boy Kevin Ryan, shout out, sent us a text with like some Chinese athletes, I think, that also just got busted recently or just came out recently. I don't even think I want to necessarily ask you a question. I just want to kind of like lead you down this path, sort of lob it up for you, and then duck and cover, get out of the way, and let you say what you're going to say.
Yeah, that's a dangerous path to lead me down. I mean, I've always been pretty outspoken about doping, and people have called me crazy. I mean, even just this morning, I tweeted something. I was saying, I'm starting to look more like a prophet than a conspiracy theorist now with all these new doping allegations coming out just this week. So, I mean, yeah, even a new article came out that about 14 officials from South Korea were arrested in another doping scandal. And then, like you said, the Chinese, there was about 6 or 8 of them. But, I mean, Efimova's got to be the biggest one of them all because this is her second positive test. And going off on a tangent, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying this, but there's been about 5, maybe 6 people who train at the same club, all tested positive before, down at Trojan. I mean, I know I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just saying at a certain point you can't be that naive. You know, there's something in the water over there. I mean, think about it. If this was a big basketball program, they would have chopped the entire administration because somebody has to know. There's got to be some accountability. Somebody's fostering that type of behavior, or somebody's got to get it under control. That's all I'm saying.
All right. That's a good stopping point.
We're getting canceled. We're getting canceled anyway. Whatever.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, since Elvis's little spiel is probably gonna get us canceled, we might as well go out with a bang. I know this is why you guys all clicked on this one. We got this new little bit that we kind of came up with. Hopefully, this is not the only chance we get to do one. We're gonna call it an Elvis exclusive. And if I'm being honest, I think this is the way that we should run every episode from now on, because I don't have to do anything. Like, all I had to do was shoot you a couple of interview questions and tell you what I thought was going to be funny, and then you had to do all the work. But we got our first ever Elvis exclusive with none other than Michael Andrew and also Mr. and Mrs. Andrew. should stick around because it's really funny. I think it's really interesting, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So, here you go.
Here I am in Orlando, Florida with Michael Andrew, the youngest pro swimmer in U.S. history. At 16 years old, I figured we should do this interview somewhere more age appropriate. Sweet. Michael Andrew, certainly one of the most controversial athletes in today's time. What is the most negative comment you've ever seen on SwimSwam or on the internet that's been directed towards you?
Okay, most negative comment. There's been a lot, but the truth is, when we come across negative comments, we do our best to pray over it and really turn those things into blessings. And so there's no particular comment that comes to mind, because when I go to race, I try not to let naysayers or anything get into my mind, because ultimately, I mean, it's just swimming, and if someone disagrees, then it's not my fault. You know, like they have the they have the right to have an opinion on what we do and how we train and all sorts of different things. But you know, if that's what they want to say, that's cool, and I kind of take it, and it's, you know, it doesn't bother me, because I don't know them, they don't know me, and I'm here to swim and enjoy it. That's like that.
I'm here with the Andrews family, and here's a question I have for you. What is it like to coach your son and see these negative comments about him and not have the urge to be super defensive or get discouraged? Because if someone was attacking my kid constantly as much as I see people talk badly about Michael Andrew, I would probably throw a fit. How do you two deal with it?
Sure. In the beginning, it was really, really hard. I think, you know, when Michael went pro, we did not anticipate the backlash that you know, just was an outpouring on the internet and stuff. We did not expect that. In our wildest dreams, we couldn't expect
Well,
that.
I think we didn't understand the NCAA process, that's
Or
the
the
dream.
college system and
We,
stuff.
we come from the Southern Hemisphere, and no one knows what NCAA means. It's like swimming yards, and back there they think a yard is a backyard where you grow cabbage, you know. And so it was
Cabbage farmer?
Yeah, cabbage farmers. Yeah, we farm cabbages. But you know, I think I didn't feel well at all with people criticizing Michael, and you know, so I mean, it's something. I think it's something we've grown, and now, you know, I realize too, like, if you're doing something, and someone's always gonna not like what you're doing and say bad stuff, and so, you know, I think when no one's criticizing, then you're not doing anything right anymore. So we definitely, and we've been praying about taking criticism and turning it into a blessing. And I think if you can get your head around it, everything can change.
I think, when, you know, advice for anybody that goes through stuff like this in the future, I would say that if something bothers you so much when people talk about you, there's a level of pride, and I think we've been very prideful. You know, we've come from a background where, and I know they've mentioned this in the ESPN article, you know, we've left South Africa, we had the siege mentality, we had to succeed, we weren't going to go back home as a failure and stuff. And so, you know, and what we went through in Aberdeen when we started swimming there, we've had some serious rejection issues. And so when we had that rejection initially when Michael went pro, you know, we thought we were just parents and supporting Michael's dream and doing what he wants to do, and never thought that people would criticize us for parenting the way we parent, and just loving our son and loving, you know, our family and being together with our family in every moment that we can. So yeah, it was hard, but I recognize now, looking back, there probably was a lot of pride involved in that. You know, so if stuff like that affects you, I would say that look and see, you know, put yourself on the shelf and don't be prideful, because what people say should never affect you if you're right with yourself. People don't know you. If they don't know you, they have no right to really speak and say, or even have that power over you to have an opinion. And, you know, there's a lot of good things that's come out of it. I think sometimes we parent Michael through some of the criticisms and make sure that we don't do that, some of the things that people accuse us of. And sometimes I think maybe that gives him an easier ride. You know, maybe we're too soft on him. And maybe sometimes I would have maybe spanked him a little bit more. But, you know, we don't.
Old school parenting.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. He gets beaten a lot.
Yeah, whatever.
So,
back on the negative comments topic.
Yeah.
What's probably a negative comment you hear most often? Because I know you guys have been kind of the forward people in USRPT, and for some reason that's a huge controversy in swimming. So what do you feel like you hear most often?
Most often towards, I guess, our family and team would be, I think the most common negative comment towards myself in swimming is that I'm in this bubble to where I can't enjoy things outside of swimming. You know, it's eat, sleep, train, swim, school, whatever. And I couldn't be farther from the truth. I mean, I've said this in many interviews too, is where, you know, like, I have an incredible life. We travel around the world, we race. I mean, I get to do fun interviews like this. You know, I mean, life's incredible, and swimming makes it that much more exciting.
I have a question. Okay, so we had a discussion about weight training, and there seems to be a little household divide on whether it should be implemented or not. So, Dad, I'll let you speak on it, and then we will get a rebuttal from Scary Mom.
Yeah, Scary Mom. Yeah,
Scary Mom.
I mean, obviously you know, so in the USRPT model, there's just not enough science out that backs it for what we do in swimming, and we definitely, you know, we like to push the envelope and try different things, and so I do feel like, you know, Michael's having a kind of a slump in his swimming, so we felt like this is a good time now just to have a change and try it out and see, and we did. We worked out with a really smart lady, the best, and you know, Andrea Hoodie worked with the basketballers in KU, and really brilliant. I totally understood the body and how to, you know, so definitely not going to hurt his body. But the problem we had was, I think now going into trials, we're trying to go, you know, 2-3 times a week. But once he goes in, the muscle damage, I couldn't get him to swim fast for at least 2 days. So it's just too late. So we've totally shelved it. We did it for 2 weeks. I mean, we're still researching, and still the jury's kind of out. But I mean, there's so much. You know, I think as science develops too, right? We're going to find something that works with Michael's body and going forward. But for now, through trials, I mean, definitely it's just going to be fast swimming.
Momzilla, what do you think?
Momzilla, I like that. It's better than Godzilla. You know, we don't. I think that everything we've read, I think Peter's really honest with himself. He doesn't believe that weight helps you in the pool. But we felt that where Michael was at, where, you know, he's the teenage boy, he comes up against the Nathan Adrians and the Matt Grievers and stuff, and those guys are so huge. And so I think there's a mental aspect that if he had a little bit more meat on his body, you know, as long as it doesn't take away from his swimming, you know, make that vessel stronger, you know. So that was our whole goal. Not that we threw out everything that we believe in USRPT, is get him fitter and strong, or get him stronger and feel good about himself, you know, that will carry over in the swimming and somehow. But yeah, like Peter said, we tried it, and it's too late. It's too late. But I think a lot of, maybe too, what we've done is we're kind of getting a little bit desperate, and
I mean, you do strange things when you start to feel like, oh, let's try something. And you know, and I study all this stuff. I just got some articles from, it's Bob Pritchard, right? And you know, he analyzed all the guys, and especially down in Popov's area, where Popov, you know, the force that he applied was far less than all the guys that he's racing, and but the way he applied, you know, so really to be stronger in water, a lot of the time it doesn't really matter, because it's almost like you go into that race boat, right? The engine, you can only apply force that well before you start to cavitate. And it's like the propeller.
So it doesn't matter if you have a stronger engine or a stronger motor. It's not going to make you faster.
But I think there's a level where you could be that maximal strength. And I don't think Michael's there. I think he can get stronger and apply more force. And but you know, that's the beauty of the sport. We're always going to be like, we'll go away from this meet, and figure out how do we be better next time.
Yeah.
And always, and so that's what makes it so exciting. Is it's so, water's it's such a weird medium that we perform in.
Yeah.
So, with the Olympics coming up, what are your plans? I know obviously everyone's plan is to make the Olympics, but have you thought about if you don't make it, what are your plans after that?
The truth is, I haven't thought of myself not making it. I think to go into the Olympic trials thinking, what am I going to do after not making it, is such a negative, defeatist way to go into it. So obviously I can't say, oh, I'm the best and I'm going to make it, but I have to go in there knowing that I have the capability to make it, and I'm going to swim there to make it, right? I'm not going to go to trials to not make it, but after trials, obviously, going to Rio is the dream, that's the goal, that's what we've been training for. And after Rio, or the time Rio comes, we've got the World Cups, and God willing, we get to go to those and compete. And then World Championships, I think 2017. And yeah, there's always going to be more events to come up, and just excited for it all.
So you definitely have plans for after the Olympics, regardless what happens.
Regardless what happens, yeah.
That'll be great. You're looking forward to 2020 as well?
Oh yeah, no, totally. I'll be 21 by 21, right?
Okay,
yeah, by 2020.
I'm not good at math, so I don't know.
I'll be young, and I'll be 17 at Rio. So yeah, there's so many more years of swimming. It's super exciting.
My opinion on the weight training too, I think, and I'm not a scientist and I don't know that much, really. I know very
You're not a
little.
scientist?
No. Funny. I think that you need a different muscle type for swimming, and people probably will crucify me and say, and I think when you weight train, what you do to your muscles is not really going to help you at having that long fluid, the type of muscle and what it can do when you swim through the water.
But I look so much sexier.
That's right.
Lifting
You
weights.
do. And so do you want to be sexy or do you want to be fast?
Yeah.
If I look at
sexy wins every
if
time.
I look at the
Every
fastest guy,
time.
Cameron McAvoy, you know what?
Yeah.
Some people have it all.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't cause too much marital trouble here with this heated debate, but I appreciate you guys joining me, and hopefully we get to have you guys on the show again some other time.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Alright, that was my interview with Michael Andrew, and if you make the Olympics, I'll teach you how to do the diamond bubble. How's that?
Yes,
Idea?
I need to do that.
Yeah.
Because my Photoshop editing skills weren't good.
Don't hate on me.